around you now.
Alright guys, let's get into the tutorial for this trick. This is a very well-known card trick called Out of This World, and it was developed by the magician Paul Curry in the year 1942. And this trick did become popular in the 1900s, mainly near the 1980s, 1990s. And this version of the trick that you saw in the performance is a version of Out of This World by Steve Drawn. So I learned that from him. But I actually didn't learn it from a tutorial video. I actually learned it from his performance. I was able to watch his performance video, and then I was able to figure out how he did the trick and perform it and now teach you how to do it, because I don't think there's actually a tutorial for this version of Out of This World on YouTube. So I might be the first to have a tutorial for this version, so that's pretty cool. But once you really get into magic, it's fun to be able to look at another magician's magic trick and figure it out without even watching a tutorial. So that will be the version I teach you today, Steve Drawn's Out of This World. And what you'll start off doing is just give the deck a shuffle. The spectator can shuffle it too, it does not matter. Just make sure that the spectator is satisfied with the order of the cards. Then you can show the spectator that all the cards are really mixed up, and you can spread through and show them. And then you'll tell the spectator that you don't want to give the deck a normal shuffle where the cards go face down to face down or face up into face up. And you tell them that you want to give the cards a sloppy shuffle. And that's literally what you're doing. The move is literally called the sloppy shuffle. And it's mostly used for triumph effects. And if you know what a triumph effect is, it would basically be you'd have a card selected, you control it to the top or the bottom of the deck, wherever you needed it to be. And then you would have the cards face down like this, and you'd flip them face up into face down, back and forth, all the way through the deck, and then get the selected card or cards set up however you needed them. And then you would do some other moves and get those cards to be the only cards face up in the deck. So this is kind of a triumph effect right here, but there isn't a card being selected. It's really setting up for the second half of the trick. So you'll understand what I'm doing in a minute. So you'll say that you're going to do the sloppy shuffle, and you'll put the cards face up like this. And now what you're doing is the sloppy shuffle, but it's a little bit different. Instead of just taking random amounts of cards and flipping them, you're actually going to be separating the red cards from the black cards. And how you do this is every time you get to a different color, you flip the cards face down. So for instance, right here, you can see we have the Queen of Hearts, and that's a red card. So I would spread it off, and there's another red card, 10 of Diamonds. So I spread that off too. Now I get to the 7 of Clubs, which is a black card. So I flip these cards face down, and then I spread off this 7. Now you can see there's another red card, so I flip them back over and spread off the red card. Another red card, a black card, flip it over, a red card, a black card. And you do this all the way through the deck, just like this. Every time you get to a different color, you flip the cards over. And what this does is it will separate on one side the black cards and on the other side the red cards. But if you slightly angle this away from the spectator, it will really look like you are mixing up the cards in a random order, because they won't always be able to see that you are specifically spreading off certain amounts of colors. You might have caught this in my performance because it's kind of hard to hide from a top camera angle, but this is how you would do it. And now you can see we have all red cards on this side and all black cards on this side. Now you would get into showing the spectator that the cards are mixed up face up into face down. And so what you would do is you can see here how there is actually a natural break separating the two halves. And that's because we have two cards here in the middle that are facing each other. And because they're bent in different directions, it makes a natural break. Now, if you're using an older deck, you might not see this break as much, so you can just give the cards a little bit of a bend, but you can see here that there is that break there. So what you start off doing is you break off half of the cards from the top half, and you show them like this, and you say we have some face down cards here, and then they'll see face up cards here. Put these back, and then you'll lift off half of the bottom of the deck and say we have face up cards, and they'll see face down cards here. And then where there's that natural break right in the middle, you can just let the cards drop like this, or you can just lift up, and it should if you get right near the break, just lift up at the break. So get into that however you want, and then you show we even have face up into face up. Now instead of just putting this half back on top, what you're going to do is as you come over with this half, you're actually going to flip this half face down and put this on top. And what that does is it turns the rest of the deck all the way face down, all the way through. So now you can say, this trick would be impossible for me to do now, but I'm a magician and I can make the deck go however I want it. And then you can riffle down the deck like this, and then you just spread it out and show all the cards are face down. Now, the spectator won't realize this, but you've actually set up for the second part of the trick, because now the cards are separated, half red and half black, just like this. But the cards are face down, they cannot see this. You're gonna keep going with the trick, and you need a marker card, a face-up marker card, roughly near the middle of the deck. Now, you're not just pulling out any random card, and I'll show you what we're doing here. So you're gonna spread through just like this, and you're going to locate the last card of the top color. So for the remainder of this trick, I'm going to be referring to possibly a different color than what you could have, because you might have the red cards in the bottom and the black cards in the top. And in my case, I have the red cards in the top and the black cards in the bottom. So just think of it as what I'm saying. It could be reversed depending on what color you have on the top half and what color you have in the bottom half. But I'm just going to refer to it as the colors that I have here right now. So you could have the black cards here, but I have red. So just think of it as vice versa. So you're going to locate the last card in the top color. So in this case, the Queen of Hearts. You're going to out jog that card and then pull it out and make sure that you put it back in face down in between the first black card and the now last red card. Then you'll flip the deck back over and you can show the card and say it's the Queen of Hearts or whatever card you had, either red or black, and say it could have been any card, but this is the one we had roughly near the middle. You can just push that in, and now you go on to the next part of the trick. You'll tell the spectator that you need to make a red pile and a black pile, and you need a red card and a black card to mark those piles. So if the red cards are on the top, which is like it is in my case, you'll say we need a red card first. So you would lift up anywhere in the top half of the deck because you know that all those cards are red, and then you can just reach in wherever you made the break and you pull out a card. Now, to make it seem to the spectator like the cards are really mixed, you're going to act like you got the wrong color. So if the top cards were black, you would look at the card and say, oops, it's red. In my case, they're red, so I would pull out this card and say, oops, it's black. And this will make it seem to the spectator like the cards really are mixed, because I didn't just magically pull out a red card on my first try. We know it really is a red card, but we're saying that it's a black card. So we pull it out, we look at it, say, oops, it's a black card, we push it back in, we lift up to a different spot, and this time we can say, there we go, we got a red card. And then for the black card, you just reach into the bottom half of the deck because all those cards are black, and then you can just pull out the black card because there's a chance that you could just get lucky and pull it out. So now this really sells to the spectator that you randomly had to look for cards and the cards are still mixed up. Now what you'll do is you'll take the top card off the deck and you'll ask the spectator what color they think it is. It'll be different depending on what color is on the top. Right now it's red. So let's say that they said they think this card is red. You would flip it over and say, in this case you're correct, the card is red. They could have said black, and that would have been wrong, but you can just play it off and say, well, you were wrong, it was red, but everyone makes mistakes, and because this card is red, we put it face down in the red pile. Now, if the top cards were black, it would have been opposite. If they said black, you'd put it in the black pile, and if they said red, then they would be wrong, but you'd still put it in the black pile. Doesn't matter. So you've put this card in the red pile because it's red, and you'll spread off another card, ask them what color they think it is. Let's say they say red again. You would not show the card this time, you would just say, okay, so we'll place it face down in the red pile. Then you'll spread off the top card again, and you'll say, what color do you think this one is? Let's say they said black. You would not show it, you'd place it in the black pile, because obviously this card is really red, because the whole top half of the deck is red right now. So then you would hand the deck over to the spectator after you've done maybe 2 or 3 cards, and you tell them to take the cards one at a time and place them face down in either the red or the black pile, depending on what card they think goes there. Now, it's very important that you tell the spectator to place them face down because they can't see what the cards are because they're all red up until that face-up marker card. So you hand them over, say put them one at a time face down, either the red or the black pile, and keep going until you reach the face-up marker card. So they would now have the deck, you'd be completely hands-off, and they would take the cards and place them into the pile that they thought was the correct one. Now at one point, you can say you're following my mental instructions very well, keep going, and they'll keep placing cards down. Now, when they place a card into this pile, you're going to say, oops, you messed up. This card is actually a red card, it goes over here. Now you can do this at any point before they reach the face-up marker card, because all these cards are red, so it doesn't matter what card you say, but it seems to the spectator like you know exactly what they're putting down because you were able to stop them and place a red card in the correct pile. Now again, it would be reversed. If the black cards were here and the red cards were here, you would just say, oops, we have a black card, it goes over here. So everything's really just reversed depending on what colors you end up having. So you'd have them keep going until they reach the face-up marker card now, just like this. And they reached the face-up marker card. So now, they don't realize that this card is actually a specific card that you needed. You needed this card to be red in this case, because the black cards are over here, and you want to reverse what side you put the colors on. So because this card is red, you're going to place it on the side that had the black cards, and you say, we'll place it here for now. And now you're going to do what is called the Hindu Shuffle. I taught this in a previous video, the best card trick in the world magic video that I did. It's pretty simple. You basically just hold the cards in a grip similar to this with your thumb on one side and your middle finger and ring finger on the other side. And then you just come over with your other hand and you peel off small packets of cards. So you're going to say we're going to give the deck 3 cuts. So you go 1, 2, 3. Then you'll place this half of the deck on top and leave a break under it with your pinky. And then you'll just reach in, pull out the bottom card of this top pack, and flip it over onto the top. And you say, and we need a black card here. So now you've reversed the color orders, and it seems like you magically were able to find a black card in this pile. But all these cards, as you know, are all black, so it doesn't matter what card you were to pull out. So you can just square up these piles a little bit so that you have more room to deal down more cards, and you tell them now we're going to reverse it. Place the black cards here and the red cards here. And they keep going through. This time you don't help them, you just let them go all the way through. So they deal down all these cards into the piles that they think are correct, and you'll stop them once they are done. So now they've finished, and you tell them that they did a pretty good job of following your mental instructions. Other than the one card you helped them with, they seemed to do everything well except for one minor mistake. Now, depending on the color that is here, it could be black, it could be red. In my case, it's red. I would say, you're supposed to place all the red cards here from this marker card down, but you accidentally placed one black card here. Do you know what card that is? Now, all these cards right here right now are black, because this half of the deck was black. So it doesn't matter what card they say, and that's what's so fooling about this. Let's say they thought the black card that they placed in by accident was this one here. You would say, yes, you're correct. That was the black card that you accidentally placed in the wrong part of the deck. And the reason why this is so fooling is because not only does it seem like that they were able to pull out the correct card, at the end, when you show that they separated things correctly except for this card, it will really sell it, and you'll see why in a minute. So again, this would be reversed. If this card was black, you would say you accidentally placed one red card in this pile. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. The video would be way too long if I did both scenarios. So just remember, it's reversed depending on what color you have. So now you would go to the other side of the cards. You start with flipping these over. Because you know that these are all black, you just say, up until this black marker card, you got all these black cards correct. And you can spread them out and show the spectator that they did. Same with this part, this top half is all red, so you can spread them out and show the spectator they got all the red cards here. Now, this side is not right, because as you know, this half is black, and then this top half is red, so they're off with their marker cards. But you're going to do something to make them seem correct. What you're going to do is you're going to square up the cards like this, and you're going to lift up on these cards. Now you're going to flip over all the cards except this card here, this black marker card. And the reason why is because these cards here are all black. So when you flip them over, it's going to put all the black cards on top of that face-up black card and leave all the red cards with this marker card here. So you can play it off like you accidentally dropped a card and you just flip them over on top. If you do this casually and fast, the spectator will not notice. So you lift up all the cards except that face-up black marker card and flip them over on top. And then you can spread through and show that they got all red cards here up until this red marker card, and then they got all these black cards. Now, you might think, well, the spectator will notice that I didn't say up to this marker card. But trust me guys, they really do not notice this. I watched the performance that Steve John did. His spectators did not notice. They're just surprised that they were able to so accurately separate reds from blacks. I performed this many times myself and no one ever notices. So just follow those steps and it will work. It will fool the spectator. And then you can say, other than this one minor mistake, you managed to separate red from black cards just like that. So that's the trick, guys. It's a really fun one. I really enjoyed performing this version of Out of This World. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and definitely go back through this tutorial and work on this trick until you have it down smooth. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Have fun with this trick, and I'll see you next time.